Hi, welcome to another Watch It Wednesday video, and I thought I would just go back to basics today and show you how to make a card from scratch. So I know a lot of times I do home parties and I've already kind of pre-cut the paper just to make things go a little faster. So I thought it might be good to actually see what I do right from the very beginning. So basically I take my color that I want to be on the base of the card, and in this case I'm going to do a Christmas card. I think I'm going to use this crumb cake color. And then I decide if I want it to be a vertical, like which way I want the fold to be, whether at the top or at the left-hand side. So in this case, I think I'm going to make the fold at the top. And what that means, I'm going to take an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper and I'm going to cut it in half at the 4 1/4 mark. Okay, so I just line up my paper. I don't know if I can lift that up so you can kind of see that. I put the edge of the paper at the 4 1/4 mark, and then I make sure it's butt up against this ledge here, and then I cut with the cutting blade, which on a Stampin' Up! Trimmer is the dark gray blade. Okay, so then you basically cut that paper in half, and then I put it back into the trimmer, turn it 90 degrees, and I line it up at the 5.5 inch mark, and then I use the light gray blade. It's not even a blade, it's a scoring tool, and it just gives that score mark right there. Okay, so that's basically how you make the card base. You cut it in half and then you score it in half, and then it gives you that nice fold at the top. Okay, and then I decide, okay, normally I like to put a little mat. The easiest way to add excitement to your card is to have layers. So the next layer, because my card is actually 4 1/4 wide, I'm just going to take off 1/4 inch and I'm going to score it at the 4 inch mark. Okay, and because you know the card base is 5.5, so I just take off 1/4 inch. I'm going to cut it at 5 1/4. Okay, so that is a perfect mat for the card. Okay, so that I stick on with my handy dandy snail tool, which is a double-sided adhesive, and I don't need to use lots. I just use kind of in the 4 corners. Okay, so yeah, I'm just really going back to basics today and just showing sort of how I start with making a card, and it's so super easy. Just cut your cardstock in half, fold it in half, cut a mat, and then if I want a double mat, I just do the same thing, and I'm just taking off 1/4 inch again. So this time I'm cutting it at 3 3/4, turning it, and I'll cut it at 5. Okay, so it's just 1/4 inch smaller on all sides from the cherry cobbler piece that I cut. Now I don't glue that one down right away, and the reason why is because I'm going to stamp on it. And believe it or not, I love to stamp, and if I make a mistake, I don't worry about it. I just flip it over and stamp on the other side. That's why I don't glue it down first, because it gives me that extra wiggle room for mistakes. I'm going to use the stamp set called Bright and Beautiful today. It's got all sorts of different star images and words. It's really great for the holidays. And here we go. I'm going to use this large star image, and I'm going to ink it up using crumb cake ink. Okay, so here's the stamp. I'll ink it up with my crumb cake ink pad, and I just choose the color that matches my cardstock that I chose. So since I'm using a crumb cake base, then I'm going to use a crumb cake ink pad. Okay, actually my crumb cake ink pad is very well loved, so I'm hoping it's juicy enough so that you can see it in this video. And then I just go straight down, push hard because it's a large stamp. Sometimes I kind of need to get all around, and straight up. Oh, that turned out great. Okay, so there you go. And then I love to stick with the same stamp set because that's why they sell them in sets. You've got words that match the pictures perfectly. I'm going to use the Season's Greeting stamp from that set, and I'll stamp it right here. There we go. And then I can glue it right down. Okay, so that is how fast and easy it is to make a card. Now, if you want to jazz it up a bit, so you could just stop right there, glue it down with the snail, and oh, I love to have matching envelopes. So here's some a crumb cake envelope, and we can just take that, maybe the slightly smaller star image, ink it up. Okay, so I think this really gives the card an extra special touch when you've got a matching envelope. And we'll just do that. So just like that, we could send that card off and imagine your friend's expression when they get that card in the mail. They're going to think you're a rock star. Okay, but you know what? Let's jazz it up a bit more. And see how fast that was? That's why I took up stamping. I didn't take up knitting or sewing or anything that seems like it would take more than 5 minutes to do, because that's just too much time. I love that it's fast and easy and I've got something done fast. Okay, so if I want to jazz it up a bit, Stampin' Up! Has all sorts of different little accessories. Here's a beautiful vintage faceted button. I believe that's what they're called. They come in this little container here, and you get 24. Let me see, 24 in a pack. They're the designer vintage faceted buttons. And it just gives it, it's almost like a little ice drop there. And how are we going to stick that down? Glue dots. So we're just going to take one of these glue dots and push it up against the, I don't know if you can see, it's now on the back of the button, and I can stick it right down there. And then since I used some cherry cobbler paper, why not use some cherry cobbler ribbon to match? So I am going to, so what I do is I kind of measure a little longer than the actual width of the card, and I'm using my wonderful Cadillac scissors from Stampin' Up!, which I use for my ribbon, nothing better. And we'll just, this is how I just tie a simple knot. It's just like a starter knot, and pull it. Okay, and there you go. And for myself, we'll just layer it like this. I'll use some of the snail at the back. Take that down. No one sees it anyway. And then, again, just put a little adhesive on. And just like that. Okay. Hopefully you can see that. That's how easy it is to make a card. Okay, so I hope you got the idea of how you cut your cardstock in half, and then you score it in half, and how you use Stampin' Up's coordinating colors to make it really fast and easy to get a wow card. Okay, so that is what I wanted to show you today, a back to basics how to make a card video. So all you need are a few supplies, and of course you can order from my store at www.genevieve.stampinupnet, or get in contact with me if you have any questions or want to come up to any of my classes. Talk to you soon. Bye.